All right, y'all. Join us as we talk with a former Stadia skeptic who has turned his thoughts around and would like to share them with the public. And I would like to introduce our good friend Pablo the Third to the podcast. Let's get into it.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black truck. Oh, I'm not sorry.
What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of the SSC podcast. I'm glad everybody is here. Christopher Torres, he said, let's do it. Hey, yo, can y'all hear me okay? Did y'all hear that intro and everything all right? I'm sorry. I'm out of breath. I've been running up and down the steps. My wife is home. She's loud as hell. I had to shut the door, barricaded, so she ain't yelling at the kids and is coming up here. But nonetheless, that's not why we're here today. We are here today because we have a very special guest in the house. And I couldn't help but leak his name, you know what I'm saying, in the intro. I want to introduce everybody again to my good friend, Pablo the Third. What's going on, Pablo? How you doing, good brother?
Yo, what's going on? What's up, everybody? MM2K, I appreciate it being on the show. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to talk Stadia with everybody today, man. What's up, guys?
Look, let's give everybody a background real quick of how this show even got together, right? Like, and correct me where I'm wrong anywhere, Pablo, but, you know, just for those that are not aware, you were skeptical of Stadia at first, right? And you didn't, you were like, this whole cloud gaming thing is ass, is trash, right? You really didn't have a lot of hopes in it, right? Is that right, or am I wrong there?
Yeah, I say you're right. I was a little towards the middle of it, and I'll be honest, it was mainly because my internet was not there for me to like optimally use Stadia. But I remember, if you don't mind, like if I can get into like how I kind of discovered this whole thing. I remember they sent me an email when this thing wasn't even called Stadia, it was called Projekt Stream, and they wanted me to try out the Assassin's Creed. And I remember trying it at my boy's house, and I was like, yo, this is some pretty impressive tech they're using here. But then kind of down the road, I started seeing like, you know, what they were trying to do with it, with the subscription. I wasn't really agreeing with how they were like setting it up at first. But now I'm here. I'm really impressed with the tech. I just got my Premier Edition. Gotcha. It's amazing, man.
Gotcha. Now, for those that don't know our history, it's like light. You know, Pablo is known in the community. He's known, and we haven't even discussed this. I know when Pablo told me that he was on Stadia, I fell out my seat. My bald spot got bigger, bro. Like hair fell out of my head. I was like, yo, Pablo, you know, and we talked a little bit before the show started, right? Like, you know, we're going to get into that, but it's amazing to see the transformation because we got a cluster of YouTube content creators and pundits that are saying one thing, and they may be pushing people in a direction that may not be best for their gaming needs. So this show is going to be very important. And I had some great guests on this show, from Duncan to Chase to Brian, and to everybody that I had when Base was released. But honestly, hearing from the community itself is like the most important thing. And I think all those prior guests would believe that. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, Pablo, but this is the biggest show of the SSC podcast there is today, because your voice is what's important. This is what's going to help the platform grow when they can appease people like you, those that were skeptics at first, that now are in on the system. Now we got to keep you, right? You know what I'm saying? And we're going to talk about all that. But first and foremost, I want to shout out everybody that's here in the chat before we get things started, because y'all ain't come here for me. First, we got the homie King Thrash. He said, King Thrash says, MM2K need to give me 5 minutes. Hey, bro, I'm going to give you a whole show. I know you got something to say, but it's about Pablo. You know, it's not about us content creators. I definitely got something lined up for you. I'm going to give you a whole show, Thrash. I definitely want to hear, because King Thrash, and for those of you that live under a rock and don't know who King Thrash is, like, you know who King Thrash is, right, Pablo?
Oh, yeah, of course. That's the homie right there. I had a talk with him last night. We had a good talk last night.
Oh, did you? Oh, word. I mean, I thought about it. I was like, no, I'm going to make this show about Pablo. So, no, Thrash, maybe me and you'll do a special, something like that. But and I definitely want to get your opinions because I value them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to put me deep to Digital Foundry. You know what I'm saying? Even though we didn't agree at first, you had to put me deep to them. So we're definitely gonna get you on the show, Thrash. But what I'm trying to do is just like a community spotlight as far as the gamers concerned. And I know you got some critiques, or you might have some good things to say, and we definitely got to hear it because again, just like with Pablo, we got to hear what the people that are not sold on it yet have to say, because those are the people that we got to win over. So it's very important to hear what Thrash got to say. But Thrash, I ain't forgot about you, good brother. We got Phoenix in the house. We got Bippity Bop. Hey, Bippity, hit me up with your Twitter name. I try to look for you on Twitter. I can never find you, good brother. Charles Aran. Who else we got in here? We got Christopher Torres. He says, "What's going on, Pablo?" We got Antonio. He says, "What's up, Pablo?" We got the homie Chariot Man Gaming. What's going on, good brother? And we got KB Ubuntu. My brother KB was here hours ago, man. When I was setting up the stream, y'all, he was like, "I can't wait." I said, "I can't wait either. I'm excited." All right, let me stop yelling. Pablo.
Nah, you go, man. I love the energy, bro.
Let me calm myself down, man. I don't want to scare you off the show. I don't want you to just hop out.
Nah, that's my type of energy right here, man. I love it.
Hey, look, man. I'm gonna tell you, and we talked about this a little bit off air.
Yeah.
There's something special about this community, and you've seen a little bit of it, I believe, but you're definitely gonna see it, man. I've never been this energized for any community like I have with this one. You know what I'm saying? So
everybody wants to see this thing kind of push forward. That's what I've seen. Like the little I've seen from it so far, like everybody wants to see it succeed, but people are also like, keeping them in check, like telling them like, yo, this is what we want though.
Exactly.
And that's good. That's a healthy, relationship between the company and our customer, honestly.
Facts. Absolutely. We got Moses Johnson in the house. He said Stadia released new games, which are still cool. That's good. And we're gonna talk about what they're doing good and some more things that they need to do. And we got I think we got everybody. All right. It's about this show's about Pablo, and we got to get his experience so we can take that to Google. Because here's what happened yesterday. And I don't want to dog anybody. And my Xbox peoples, they hate Pablo. They hate me, bro. They hate me. I'm like Judas, bro. I'm Judas, man. You ain't know that?
Oh, man.
I took the Trinity and I turned it into Jesus' back. They mad at me, bro. They hate me.
They gotta fall back, man. Xbox peoples, I gotta fall back, man. We gotta have our time to shine.
Exactly. Yeah, bro. Look. All I'm saying to my Xbox brethren is, I'm not saying that the platform is trash. I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm not saying it can't do better. It's just not for me right now because how I got into the game. But what I'm saying to them is the same thing I've been saying here. It's good that they got y'all on lock, but in order for them to succeed, they got to yank in more. These are the things that you got to do to succeed. But because we got one community where I say that week to week, and they're like, "Yeah, MM2K, that's good. That's right. Stadia got to do this. Stadia got to do that." And I take it over to another community, and they act like they're lacking preparation H, man. They're butthurt. I don't get it, and they're like, "Oh man, why are you talking negative about Xbox?" No, it's letting y'all know to look outside of your own silo, and that's what. And I'm going to shut up. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to query Pablo, we're going to pick his brain, and we're going to look outside of our silo and see what we can do to bring in more people like Pablo. So Pablo, first, let me before we get into the questions, let people know where they can find you. Like, what's your social media tags? Where do you guest host on, and all that type of good stuff.
So yeah, usually I'm mostly on Twitter, Harlem X Poncho. If you guys want to interact with me on there, you can hit me up on there. Sometimes I'm on the Roundtable podcast every now and then. I've been kind of out of the limelight in terms of the podcast stuff, but I'm gonna try to do more and more, as I get more free time. So that's kind of where they can find me at mostly.
Definitely. All right, so just let's help us take a peer to Pablo's gaming world. How long have you been gaming roughly?
So basically, if I had to say, really, I want to say 20 years, but it might be a little bit less than that because I started with the N64. My cousins got me into gaming, so I remember going to their house. They had the N64 there, and I was like, "Yo, what is this? Is this a toy or something?" I thought I could just play with it or something. And then they took out the controller. They put GoldenEye 64 in there, and I just fell in love with it. Like after that, I just wanted to like just dive into the world of gaming and everything. But my first like personal console was like the PS1. So I was playing like Crash Bandicoot and all that stuff, Spyro. And that's kind of where I started really.
I was taking a swig of water. I almost choked on it. That's dope. I'm all over the place, Pablo. That's dope. So let me ask you. So, and not to get too far off subject here, but what was Final Fantasy VII like a pillar for you in the PlayStation 1 days?
I never played that.
Gotcha.
Like at all. I was really limited in the games I played. There was only a few. Because I was fairly young when I really got into it.
Yeah.
But I was mostly more involved with even though I owned the PS1, whenever I would go to my cousins, I would play like the Super Smash Bros. Super Mario 64, the GoldenEye 64. That's what brought me into that's what brought my love into like first person shooters, third person shooters, and all that. So yeah, man. But yeah, I never really played that game.
Gotcha,
I'm thinking about playing the remake though.
Yeah.
I got
it's on my radar too. Yeah, it's on my radar too. Bippity Bop, real quick. He says, "Man, GoldenEye, that was a bad game right there. Definitely, Bippity. Don't forget to send me your tag on Twitter, brother." We also got Christopher Torres. He says, "Damn, throwback Crash Bandicoot. Laugh out loud." That's what's up, man. So I want to go over your favorites right now, just to help us, again, get connected to your gaming world. Can you tell us what your favorite game, your favorite genre, and your favorite system is of all time?
Oh, all right, that's easy. All right, so my favorite game, I don't know why people don't like this game, but Super Mario Sunshine, like that game. Every time I play that game, like that shit just pierced right through my heart, man. I love playing that game on the GameCube. My favorite genre, I love my third person shooters, man. Action adventure, like I just love they especially like the games that Sony's put on PlayStation, like Uncharted. I love that game to death. That was like one of my favorite series as well. My favorite system ever, the N64. I just like playing the wrestling games on there. No Mercy, like I think WrestleMania 2000. Like playing all those games was like so fun to me. And then the GoldenEye, that was my favorite shooter of all time. So that was my favorite system back then.
Word. I'm just letting everybody know. Share this out and let folks know we're live, man. This is a big show. I mean, we got a good amount of people in here, but we need more. We need more. And I normally don't ask y'all to do this, but we need more. This is the biggest SSC podcast to date. We need more. All right.
Yeah, share it out.
That's dope, man. N64. You know what? I was working. I don't want to. Again, I'll only take a tad second to touch on this. I missed out on the N64 era because I was working and I was doing like crazy hours, bro. And there's a lot of gamers that I interact with because I've been gaming for over 30 years. I'm an old fogey, right? And there's a lot of gamers that were really like amazed by the N64 era. And I feel like I'm missing out on something because I really never got a chance. Like GoldenEye, I saw it like in the house one time. I was going over my friend's house. They was playing. It was like 30 of them sitting there playing GoldenEye, taking turns. And I'm like, okay, I dropped this off. I'll see y'all later. You know what I'm saying? Like I never got a chance to enjoy it. So, it's dope when I come across people that were actually able to game strongly in that era and express how they feel about that stuff. So now let's hop into the $1 million questions, Pablo. Okay. What led you to finally touch and get a hold of Stadia?
Okay, so one second.
No, that's cool. But while he's doing that, I'm gonna go over the chat real quick. Moses says, and all of them are dope exclusives, Christopher Torres. And Chris Torres was like, those games were exclusive. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a big error. Let me see what else we got here until Pablo gets back. Moses Johnson says, my first console was the NES, the N64, and the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2, and around 2005, the Wii. After that, the PlayStation. Yeah, hey, man, you've been doing some gaming, bro. Okay, so Pablo was back. I'm sorry, good brother. So, again, what led you? Is everything you good? You good, brother?
Yeah. My mom was asking me a question. I was like, she threw me off for a second. But yeah, what led me to it? This is actually not like my first time. I did try it out at launch. But the main reason that I just went all in, I bought the Premier Edition and everything, was my internet was at the speed I wanted it to be, and and I got good results, like playing it through the browser, playing it through the phone, and then trying it on the Chromecast Ultra. It was really what they said it was going to be in terms of like getting like raw performance without the need of a box. And I, I'm just like it's just like mesmerizing to me to be able to like just hook up and play. You don't need a box or anything. Don't need to download anything. Just the sheer convenience of it makes it like really special. So that's what kind of led me to it. And just like the promise of like that you won't ever need to like upgrade to anything.
Yeah.
It's just they're gonna do it behind the scenes for you. That was kind of the deal breaker for me. Like when I heard about that, and just to be able to like change like the level of performance as well. Like you don't have to like worry if like a developer's gonna need to like update something for you. They're gonna do it on their end. So
Put me on the fly.
all of that stuff was really good to me. There's some issues I do have, but I'm sure we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to, yeah, definitely. And it's important to point those issues out because we don't want to make it seem like it's rainbows and unicorns, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got to put everything out on the table and be transparent because we want Google to improve on this. And I will tell you this though, Pablo, if there's any company, whether it's right now or I hope it's going to be long term, if there's any company that's going to be responded to feedback, it's Google. We've seen it firsthand. There's crazy claims that crazy requests for sales and stuff that we made on the show. Man, drop this to this price. And 2 days later, they did it. We're like, what? I was just joking. I was drunk. You know what I'm saying? And they did it. So this is a great time. Now it could be just because it's the launch of the platform and they want to keep at least the lower level base satisfied. But hey, I'll take it. You know what I mean? So definitely we got to talk about the good and the bad. Well, no, that's the perfect segue into the next question. What do you think? Even though you're amazed right now, we're not going to blame all the YouTubers and the content creators for Stadia's woes. Google and Stadia has to have some of that responsibility under their coattail, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think that they seriously got wrong in rolling this thing out?
I think there's a couple of things. I feel like they should have been a little bit more transparent as to how the games were going to perform. Because I will say there are some games that don't perform the way that they said they would. Like an example, like Final Fantasy runs at 30 FPS, whatever mode you play it on at 1080p. That was something that like I felt like they could have been like a little bit more honest with. But
exactly.
Like every company's not perfect. There's gonna be some issues where they don't want to bring up stuff like that. It's understandable, but they could have been a little bit more honest there. I think having it free from the jump would have like I think boost the install base like even more. I think it would have been past 1 million. I think it would have been like 5 million at least if it would have been free from the jump, and then maybe offer the pro subscription on the side. And I think the last thing I could really say is like maybe I think they should have kind of doubled down before they really like kick this thing off. Like maybe like 5 years before it was a thing. Like maybe have the developers already ready to have like that cycle of development with games coming in. Because I feel like 2 right now is not. I know they'll get like more in the future. I know you can't just like create studios like off a whim like that, but it would have been nice to have like studios already prepared. But I know that they're going to be bringing games in throughout the year, so that's a good sign for me. As long as the games are coming in, I'll be supporting them for sure.
Now, those are very interesting points, and those are questions, and I'm glad you brought that up, Pablo. That was excellent that you brought that up, because I get a lot of people that come to me, like, who was it? It was just last night. I was talking to the homie Cold Blood Sensei. I don't know if you're familiar with Cold Blood. He's a staunch PlayStation guy, and he does nothing but come in here. I'm surprised Cold Blood ain't here right now. He comes in here and does nothing but dog Stadia, but I love him. That's my brother, right? He said, Moss, he's like, I see it works well. He said, but they're behind the curve as far as I'm concerned. Why couldn't they just come out and do some things earlier? And what I said to him is, I get your question. It makes a lot of sense. To me, what I've seen from the I/O presentation and the GDC is that this thing, they've been working on this for 9 years. And just a year or two ago, they got this thing at a playable state. And in order to get it into an accommodating state, they needed data. So that's why there was Project Stream. They got 24,000 hours of data. Once they got the 24,000 hours of data, they were able to do the HD, the 4K and stuff like. They weren't able to do the HD on the 4K until they got that data. They didn't get close to that data until the beginning of 2019. I want to assume it was then that they were able to talk to entities like Bungie, to get Destiny on the platform. Destiny took them they got that working on the platform in 6 months. Because they had no time longer because the platform wasn't even ready for you to build on it yet at that level. So it was important for you to bring that up still, Pablo, because that's the public perception. And guess what? Perception is 9/10 of the law. And guess what? If you want to change perception, guess what Google got to do? They got to communicate better. You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, they got to be more transparent on this stuff. What Google needs to do. See, I can sit up here until I'm blue in the face, and you can ask questions until you're blue in the face. None of this gets resolved until Google answers these questions. So Google, if you're listening, we love the platform, but what you got to do is you got to have another AMA that you're better prepared for, another Q&A where you address these questions that Pablo have, because there are just some things that you guys weren't able to do that people don't realize. And if you come clean about it, and, I don't want to say come clean, but if you're transparent about it, it might go a long way, especially now that people are a little bit more favorable to the platform. Well, any thoughts on that before we move on, Pablo?
Yeah, just something I wanted to address because I saw it on Twitter before I hopped on the show. It seems like everybody wants everything now when it comes to anything that's new in the industry. You gotta let things grow. Even though Google's an established company, they're not established in the gaming space. So we got to give them time to breathe and figure out what type of studios they want to get. It's gonna take a couple years before we see the fruits of their labor come out into the Stadia platform. So I people saying that they want to see its downfall and everything. Just wait for it to actually grow to a point to where it's at its peak, at least, because it hasn't even touched its peak yet, and it's starting to rise up little by little every time I hear about what they're doing.
Absolutely. No, I couldn't have put that any better, man. I couldn't have put that any better. What are you pleased with though? What are you happy with as it comes to the platform?
To the platform, the sheer convenience, man. I was struggling with setting it up a little bit, but after I got that done, it became a lot more convenient. Plugging up the controller, the latency is kind of what threw me back, because it was really smooth for the most part. It's a lot better in certain cases on depending on where you play. I know you need the wired, but wirelessly, it's almost up there with playing it local. I had a really good experience. Playing on a TV almost seems like I don't know. It feels like a different experience on the TV.
The CCU,
no compression. I didn't see any compression on the screen. And that was just so impressive to me, man. And just to be able to change the performance on the whim like that with the phone, is really dope. I'm definitely pleased with that aspect of it, and the controller. The controller is amazing, man.
Yeah, it's dope, man. Me, most of the time, Pablo, I play on the PC just because this is where I do all my work at, and this is my excuse to get away from my wife. You know what I'm saying? So I could play on the TV, but I don't have a TV up here that's all computer monitors and stuff like that. And I've shown my setup before. But when I do play on the TV, my God, you're gonna love that, man. And I do recommend. This is what I recommend. Idealistically, if you're playing on a CCU, because playing on a CCU is just superb. It's a whole nother level. But to get the best out of the CCU, I urge everybody to get a Cat 8 Category 8 Ethernet cord. Get them from Amazon. They're the cheapest there. Idealistically, you'll want to keep it 6 feet, no longer than 6 feet away from the router. But if you got to go over 6 feet, that's fine. But mine's is running 25 feet. I got a flat one. I put it under the carpet and ran it down the side of the wall. You can hardly notice it. You know what I'm saying? But if you hardwire your CCU to a Cat 8 cord, You could. My brother came over from out of town. He's a PC master race. Does not believe in cloud gaming at all. When I had him playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint before it started getting all shaky and messed up, he was like, "Bruh, you got like a mini tower down here? Like, what are you playing?" I said, "No, this is Stadia." He said, "You lying?" I said, Look and see what you're playing from." I said, "Follow the cord." Like Pops from House Party, follow the drip. I said, "Follow the cord. He followed the cord to the CCU. He said, "Bruh, I'm amazed. I wish I could get this, but my internet ain't up to par." I said, "Yeah, I feel you, but we doing it good, and I ain't got to pay a whole bunch of money to upgrade a rig to get good fidelity." You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, that's fantastic, man. Hey, look, question for you before we move on to the next section. Overall, how would you best describe this Stadia community and your interaction with them in your short time?
Yeah, so my honest opinion about them, like I noticed they want to see the platform go forward. So they get really I notice they get really defensive when they see like somebody kind of talking down on it, which is fine.
Yeah.
It comes with any fan base that's with a platform that they prefer. But they're honest about like what they're playing on. So they want to see like whatever's bad about it turned into good. You know what I mean? So so they're more honest compared to like the other fan bases from what I've seen. They know the mistakes that Google's made with Stadia so far, and they know their strengths with Stadia right now. So what I like about the community is that they communicate really well with what they want to see done in the future and like what games they want to see on the platform. And I haven't seen that level of communication between like a customer and then a company like that in a little while. That just shows that they want to see it grow. I want to see it grow myself. I don't want this to go anywhere. I want to see this live on for decades, because this is honestly the future. Like where you won't need a console anymore. Like, maybe 10, 15 years from now, and it's gonna get better each year, man. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. The homie Bippity Bop, and Bippity, I'm so sorry, bro. We was already following each other on Twitter. It's just when I go to type in your name, it don't, Twitter's real goofy. But Bippity Bop says, "I don't mind people talking down on it, but just has to be fact-based." What are your thoughts on that, Pablo?
Yeah, I agree. Like, there was a guy on Twitter that he was just kind of going like on a tangent. I had to mute the thread because he was just going on and on.
Yeah.
Like, he was just saying like, "Oh, it's gonna die in 5 months. Like, it should have had 5 million by now." But the thing he doesn't understand is that they're a new competitor in a new space that literally just started. Like, they're one of the first group of people to start this whole cloud thing alongside with Xbox with the Xcloud thing, and like, you can't just expect everybody to jump on everything now and like expect all these grand features and all that. It takes time, man. Like, we want it, but we have to be realistic about it at the same time.
Absolutely. And you talked about somebody, I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but I shocked a lot of people yesterday by a tweet that I sent out, because we had this guy that, like, I don't mind even people just razzing and saying stuff and giving their opinions. This sucks. It's gonna die. It smells like turkey ass. I don't care what they say. You know what I'm saying? And I'll chuckle. I'll go back and forth with them and do the memes. But what I don't really like, especially in a situation like this where it's open to the public and maybe someone hasn't had a chance to just get their hands on it yet, and they're still looking at, they're still checking the tea leaves and looking and seeing what general perception is. I don't like when people talk absolutes and they're completely wrong. Like, this guy was saying, yeah, the only way that you can access your games up until this public release was you had to pay month to month. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, let's end this right now. Let me block you and let me show you how stupid everything that you're saying is, because you're doing disservice to the unsuspecting gamer who's going to look at you and say, this guy's talking in absolutes. Maybe it ain't worth me trying. Yeah. And they could be missing out on an experience that could be enhancing for them, like how this is for Pablo. So, I had to make an example out of that guy, but that's the thing. I don't mind if you're wrong in your opinion, but when you try to state it as fact, no, this is 100% material fact, then that's when I get a problem. I'm sorry. What was you gonna say, Pablo?
Yeah, the problem with him was like he damn, the hell was I gonna say? Shit.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot because he was going on a tangent, so
long,
I don't even remember. Never mind, forget about it. Yeah, forget about it.
If it comes back to you, we can get there.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up later.
Oh, hey, look, I got that effect on people. Look.
Yeah.
That's how I get out of doing chores for my wife. When she be like, I just start talking and say, what was the guys going to ask you to do? I'm like, yes, victory. All right, so we're gonna talk about the turnaround. You had a lot of nice things to say about Stadia, and that's great. But honestly, we didn't try to kidnap your brother for that. We want to pick your brain for the bad stuff. And this is a community, like you said, that will hold their feet to the fire. They've been vicious towards Google when need be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, we did. One of my questions was when you first heard about Stadia Project Stream, what did you think about it? I think we already covered that, right?
Yeah.
Now, you weren't welcoming to the idea once Stadia Retail was introduced. What were some of your thoughts? I mean, you talked earlier about how you were just iffy. I mean, you may have had personal internet issues, but you just thought that I don't really like the idea of this thing. Can you explain further the things that you didn't like from the offset?
Yeah, I think there was like some misconceptions I might have had about it because like I was saying, like the messaging wasn't really clear with them, so I didn't really understand like what I was really getting into if I did
absolutely
buy into it. I thought that the idea that I had about this was that like the only way you can keep playing your games was like if you had the pro membership, and that was the misconception I had about it. So that kind of deterred me away. I'm like, yo, damn, I gotta pay monthly just to play the games that I bought from the platform. And and over time, like I was looking into it, and then I saw that it was only for like those pro games, like kind of like how PS Plus is. Like if you lose the subscription, you won't be able to play it, but once you renew it, like it'll be right back in there. And then when it did launch, I did try it out. And then I just didn't like where it was at with my internet. So I had it for those 3 months. Or I think it was 3 months. I think they gave it to me for.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Yeah, so you had like a buddy pass or something?
I believe so. I believe I had that buddy pass thing. I canceled it, and I just waited until once I got back into it is when I heard that they were going free with it, letting anybody sign up for it. And then when I had the opportunity to upgrade my internet, I was like, yo, let me go full in on this thing. Let me see how it would impact me as a gamer and see like how I feel about it, like playing with it for a couple of hours, couple of days, couple of weeks. And like, that's when I became like, really fond of it recently.
Okay. Yep. All right. So then that covers my next question too. What has changed your mind because you were able to get back into it? Before we go on to the next section, what are your overall thoughts about the platform as far as what you experience now? We're going to talk about the future and what they need to do in the future in the next section. But now we want the good and the bad, whatever was bad that you didn't cover, because that's important and don't shy away from it. What are your overall thoughts? What did they do right? What did they do wrong? You know what I'm saying? As far as a consumer like you is concerned.
So what they did right, just speaking as a consumer, like the convenience of it, the factor of that, the tech that went into it is really impressive. Like especially on the Chromecast. The Chromecast, I think they should encourage people to use that more. I feel like if they promoted that more, I think more people would really jump on the platform. That's just me. That would be my advice to them. If they wanted advice from us to see like what they could do better. And just negatively, I just feel like they like, I don't know, it's just irking me a little bit. I know it takes time, but like more developers, like more studios, I feel like it's really needed. I know it takes time to build that up and stuff. I understand that, but I feel like they should have had like a good 5 or 6 already, like off the gate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that just kind of irked me a little bit.
Yeah. No, I get you. I will say this. Excuse me. That's a very excellent point. Like, this is the lightest launch lineup as far as exclusive content that we may have ever seen. And I get it why they had to do it that way. But see, I think what they did is they took a message that was appealing to hardcore gamers like you and I, the gamers that look for this exclusive content, and they applied it to a model that was for casual gamers. Games that you already know exist, but try them with us. You know what I'm saying? Because we have a more convenient way for you to play them. That was the system that we were given at launch. But then you spoke to the hardcore gamer and talked to them in a way to where, like you said, in a non-transparent way, they thought it was something. It was going to provide something else that wasn't totally there. Do you think I hit that there, or is there something that I'm missing in that analysis?
No, that's a good analysis right there.
Yeah. So and I think that's a lesson learned, because they've stepped away from talking about the teraflops. They stepped away from calling it base. You know what I'm saying? I think they recognize where they've fallen short, and they're just putting their head down and doing the work. But that's great. Anything else that you know, as far as what you've experienced right now, that you definitely want to share with us?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you said, they're not saying anymore. They're actually doing it. So like even though they're not really like saying much right now, I think there's a good reason for that. I think they're actually working on probably getting more studios in and seeing like what type of deals they can put up with to get exclusive content on the platform. Because I seen an article, I think it was from your site, the Broadband Bully site, I think, right?
Yeah.
I seen that they have a more aggressive push to bring out more games, like up to like 450 games within this year and next year, and that's what I want to see. Like don't talk a big game and then don't deliver. Like, I'd rather them be quiet and then deliver. You know, and that, you know, that's great.
Yep. No, that's where I'm at. Like, in a perfect world, they would be like, okay, next month this is dropping on this day. But if I had to choose between the fumbled nature that they were doing earlier opposed to what they're doing now, I'm selected now every single time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, we are going to get to a point, you know what I'm saying, Pablo, to where they are going to have to be a little more the communication is going to have to get better.
Oh, yeah, for sure. E3's coming up too, so I'm hoping that they're...
Yeah. That's you know what? I did have that as part of my questions, but I'm gonna integrate. I'm gonna steal from you, because that's what I'm known to do. I'm a swiper. I'm gonna throw that in there. That's a great point that you brought up, man. Shit, let's do that. Let's go right to the next. Hey, look, guys, before we go to part 3, what needs to be done, because this is very critical, and we're getting good stuff from Pablo right here. Again, it's great for me, Chase, Brian, Eddie, and all of us that I don't want to say for a living, but for a hobby, it's our job. I don't know, it ain't a job. It's the thing that we wake up to do, is to go and present Stadia news to you guys. It's great that you hear from us. But this stuff from the community, from the gamers themselves, especially those that were not favorable at first for very good reasons, this stuff is critical, y'all. Hit that like button, share that out, let your mammy know, let your grandmammy know, let everybody know. If you walking by an auto shop, yank the mechanic from under the car, tell him to listen to this ish. This is great stuff. And Pablo, you're doing a hell of a job, man. I'm so psyched, man. You're doing a hell of a job. Let's get into what needs to be done.
I definitely want to get into that.
Now, first and foremost, before I steal your question from you, you did have questions about devs and exclusives. Mm-hmm. So here's what I do know. And in my chat, this is where I need y'all to help me out to make sure that I'm not leading Pablo astray. From what I understand, and Chase is here too. Chase has a better understanding of this too. But before I get into that, King Thrash Gaming says, good shits, Pops. Let them know. That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, definitely. He's fantastic, man. He's killing it, man. Shit, they might kick me off my own show. Give it to Pablo.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
Pablo Dosage. I'm about to say, hey, who all was Pablo Dosage? Shit, I'm like, this might be MM2K's last day.
Hey, man, I infiltrated. I'm inside.
Yeah, exactly. He made it. We got it. What's that mean? We got it when they sneak in through the roof. Man. Woo, they're gonna kick me off my own stuff today. No, great job, man. you had a question about devs. We talked off air about devs and exclusives, and you're hammering at home, and that's important. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's what I do know, and anybody in the chat where I muffed this up, please correct me. They currently have 2 in-house studios. One in Playa Vista, Los Angeles, California. Another in Montreal. They've admitted, Pablo. Now this is not, but hear me out here. They have admitted that you're not going to see their Breath of the Wild game, meaning something that's internally developed from them that's of that caliber, for up to 5 years. They've admitted that. Okay. Nonetheless, Jade also stated that they're leaning heavy on second-party partnerships to steam the tide until that completes. So it's not that they're like, we're not going to bring you exclusive content, but as far as first-party exclusive content that is home hitting, you might see little trinkets of AA stuff here and there, but that big banger isn't coming from our internal studios for 5 years. However, we're still going to bring you bangers via second-party deals. Honestly, to be honest about this, because Google needs to hear this. How do you feel about that?
It's I'm like in the middle with it, because at the same time, it's like, all right, I want them to take their time, like to make that Breath of the Wild, like AAA Sony type game or whatever they want to make. Yeah. So that's good, because a lot of these games that come out like from Ubisoft, like they make them in like 3 years, 2 years. These sequels and stuff like that, and they don't really turn out as best as they could be. So hearing that is good, but at the same time, they should have had this lined up, like knowing like how to prepare for the future of the platform, to have it ready, like, okay, from the jump, like, all right, we got you guys like 5 exclusives here. You can play different type of genres. It is smart though, from their end, to rely on second party partnerships to hold them off until then. That is if they're like worthwhile though. Hopefully they reach out to maybe a Platinum Games. They could reach out to them and have them make them a hack and slash game for Stadia. That would be cool. But it's a little disappointing, but at the same time, if you want a really good game, and like something that looks worthwhile, it's gonna take some time. So I understand that aspect from it, but I'm in the middle about it.
Okay, no, and that's a great assessment, and we big up to Moses. Moses John's like, holy crap, 5 years. Oh,
that's a minute, bro. That's a good minute.
But you know what? How I feel about it is, I'm an Xbox 360 kid, and call me foolish or not, I think that, and call me crazy, I think that brand new ecosystems and platform providers like a Stadia, like how Xbox did, do better when they collaborate with the experts. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what talent they bring in from Santa Monica, whatever, these people have to mesh well together. So I think you'll get a better product at first when you go to the proven people, the Ubisofts or the Platinum Games, like you said, and get them to work on second party deals. However, you got to have first party, that you're building up in the background, or you're going to have an Xbox One era. You know what I'm saying? Where the second parties didn't do it for you, and your first party was non-existent. So that's how I feel. But again, they already have me, Pablo. They got to get more people like you to do what you did. So I say that all that to say this: Google, listen to these words that Pablo was emphasizing on right now. Like, he's in the middle about that, and that it could go either way. Like, you guys got to make sure that even though you got to take time to build your first party, build more studios. So so you can solve this sooner rather than later, for one, and for two, when you have these second party deals, this shit got to be off. It got to be off the charts. Look back to the stuff that 360 was doing with their second party deals, because that's what helped them over past the red ring of death and a lot of the other problems that they had. What are your thoughts on that, Pablo?
Well, one thing I did want to say, like, something that they could do, kind of piggybacking off the second party partnerships. I think introducing free to play games like
Oh,
to their
yeah.
library, like games like Warzone and Fortnite, I think
Mm-hmm.
that could really bring in a really huge crowd of people, because there's a lot of people that just strictly play those free to play games. They don't really buy, they'll probably buy a couple exclusives here and there, but those group of people, I think you would really want to push on your platform. If they really
Mm-hmm.
pushed aggressively to get like a Warzone, a Fortnite, um, like even a Warframe, there would be a big group of people moving to Stadia, and then once they're there, once you have your exclusives and stuff like that, they'll be like, oh damn, this game looks kind of cool, like let me try this out on the platform, and it's gonna make them want to stick around. So that just kind of came to mind to me, and that's something that I've been wanting too, because I love Warzone.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to. That's actually one of our news articles, like something in relation to Fortnite, and it's important, and it's something that's been brought up in the community, and there's kind of like a reason why. But hold on, I want to tweet this out because I don't know if my chat is doing the job right. How many likes we got in here? We got 30 people. Okay, we're cool on it. Like we could do a couple more likes, but we got to tweet this out. You see that little arrow on the bottom? You guys are getting prime time stuff. You're getting prime rib for free. Like hit that like button, share it out, because this is great stuff from Paul. I'm gonna put up here. We are live with a fantastic discussion. And I know I'm putting pressure on you guys, but like when we got good stuff going on, this is just, hey, look, y'all talk about, oh man, everybody says this about Stadia, and everybody says that, but y'all don't let people know when the good stuff is happening. Let them know. This is great discussion, great discourse. As Chase said, look, I can't even spell. I'm so excited. Okay. It's former, not ormer. Okay, there we go. Now let's tweet that out. All right. Now, no, that was all excellent points. See, and I don't want to touch on this too early. I'll just say this. There is a reason why the free-to-play games aren't there yet, because they're owned by entities that I think aren't comfortable announcing their partnerships with Stadia yet. Like Activision owns the Call of Duty stuff. And, Activision is like, we're not partnering with you until you're proven. Remember how they did the Wii U? They did that with the Wii. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't prove themselves. They said, the hell no, we ain't bringing our shit there. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. So then you got EA that has this. They have a tumultuous relationship with the Wii, and they're the same way. They were like, hold on, this is programming for a completely different platform on Vulkan. Why are we going to do this? How lucrative is this going to be for us? You got to prove yourself. Fortnite, on the other hand, with Epic, Tim Sweeney, aka Tim Swindle, he on some other stuff. We're going to talk about that in courtesy of an article from our good friends at Stadia Source. So, and then you got Apex Legends, that's again owned by EA. So, unfortunately for Stadia, all the free-to-play people don't have an incentive. I mean, they're not moving right now, except for Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft does have Rainbow Six Siege, which isn't free to play right now, but it's about to be free to play. So that could help out a lot with the platform. Also, Pablo, you brought up an excellent point. If I'm at Google, let me know what you think about this, because this is about your thoughts, not my bibble babble. If I'm at Google, I'm like, how much do we have in the account? And they could say, oh, we got like, in our liquid account, oh, we got 500 million. I need 300 million of that. Why? Because I'm going to the developers of Warframe. I need that shit on my system today. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Warframe would be nuts on Stadia right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that would be nuts. Like any of those three that I mentioned, Warframe, Warzone, Fortnite. I'm sure there's some other big free to play, but I haven't played all of them. But if they got like 300 million and told them like, yo guys, let's try to get this on the platform. You guys get, can reap the benefits. We get a percentage. But I think honestly, those companies, like they probably seen like the news about Stadia hitting like 1 million like installs. But I think they want that number to be a little bit more higher for them to be able to make enough revenue from players actually playing the game.
Great
So I
point.
think that's why they're not really jumping on it.
Great.
It's understandable, but I think they should just drop it, like, because it's gonna build over time, and then like, because what if they do it too late? What if, like, the game overstays its welcome, and then there's something else bigger that other people are playing. So that's why I think they should drop it, like, really soon.
Yeah.
But I understand at the same time, I think they want the number to be a little bit more comfortable, like maybe a 5 million.
Mm-hmm.
They would probably be more in tune with it.
Yep. Bippity Bop says, and I agree with him. He says, Warframe, Iron Sight underrated, and maybe even Warface. Yeah, Warface I think is EA as well. So again, but there are other free to play games like there's this. I mean, there's Warframe. There are indie developer free to play games that should be all over Stadia, and 300 million is kind of high. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, 50, 75 million to these independent studios that would really love that cash for them to develop it on Vulkan. And you can have them cross-reference to Bungie's. I'm pretty sure Bungie is excited to help people. They would be able to help them or whatever. Probably not, because that's a free-to-play game and they would be competing with theirs. But send people out to them like how you did with Bungie. But I think Warframe, Iron Sight would be good. Warface would be difficult again because that's EA. But then you got Rainbow Six Siege that's going to be free to play, and there's a little game called Defiance 2050. It's bigger on PC, but that has a following too, and that's something that I know Stadia gamers would love. So all these little indie games, even Remnant, Eternal from the Ashes or whatever, that's not so much of a free to play game, but I would hit up a lot of these indie AA sub AAA game developers, and I would be throwing money at them to get their games on the system easily. You know what I'm saying? But maybe that's me. All right, let's move on. Stadia Talk says the one thing that I think it has to happen is Warzone. Absolutely. You got to get a call. If you can't get Fortnite, you got to get a Call of Duty on your platform. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they definitely have to get. I feel like that's number one priority in terms of like the free to play space. They really have to grab that game because they're constantly updating that, and I think it's a perfect fit for Stadia. Like a lot of people have seen how like these shooters run on Stadia. Metro runs really great. Doom Eternal runs really great amidst like the whole digital foundry thing. They were saying some shit about the latency, but obviously it runs really well. So that game would run really good if they ported it correctly and everything, which I'm sure they would. They're really good with the FPS game. So I would love to see that, man. Battlefield as well, if that's possible with EA.
Oh yeah, definitely. All of them need to be like. This is a platform. Look, we got to be honest, guys. It has a lot of appeal to hardcore gamers because of the ease of gaming and the fact that someone like me that has a busy schedule, I might only have 45 minutes to game. You know what I'm saying? And then now on Stadia, my whole 45 minutes go to gaming, opposed to on console. There's an update for the Division that took 10 minutes. You see what I'm saying? And a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's made it real convenient for me. That being said, it's important that you have the things that are you can dangle the carrots in front of the casual gamers, and the casual gamers are playing these free to play games. You gotta have them. Let me see here. All right, let's go on to my next question, which is well, we talked about the 5-year strategy and the second party strategy. We got your thoughts on that. Let's just talk about overall games. Now, here's something also that I know, and if I'm wrong about it, guys, please correct me in the chat. They got 120 games plus games coming in 2020, so that's roughly an average of 10 games. So we haven't even seen that yet. So if this number holds true, we're going to see an explosion of games in the latter part of 2020. Those games include what we know of right now, the likes of Marvel Avengers, Cyberpunk 2077, which I think is the biggest game for the platform right now, and Baldur's Gate. And it's also reported, as you alluded to earlier, Pablo, that there's an additionally 450 games that are within development and releasing on the platform, or releasing or in development on the platform within 2020 and beyond. What do you think about that?
Give me 1 second. Hold on.
Oh no, that's all right. That's all right. While you're doing that, let me know when you come back. While you're doing that, we're going to check the chat. And King's Thrash had something up here. He said Google needs to lower their fee, and my knee-jerk reaction to that would be why nobody else has to lower their fee because 30% is the standard. But we're sitting there talking about making inroads because you're new. And sometimes you got to make sacrifices. And I know Chase has been diligent in explaining why that 30% isn't going to drop, or that they've probably been a little bit negotiable about that.
Sorry.
Oh, that's cool. But I don't know about that. I don't know if you see this question real quick, Pablo. Thrash says, and again, despite this is not about what the quote unquote experts might think. What do you think about this? King Thrash says Google needs to lower their fee, meaning the 30% that they charge for in-game or in-store purchases. What do you think about that?
Oh, I actually didn't even know they that's how they did. So that anything that's bought in game like DLC, they get 30% of that?
They're supposed to get 30% of it. But I was talking to Chase, and we don't know how across the board that's being reached, but definitely, but the 30% is common. Like PlayStation charges it, Xbox charges it with some negotiation wiggle room. You know what I'm saying? So that's standard. The only people that don't do that is Humble Bundle, Epic, and somebody else. Everybody else charges 30%. But because they're new to the platform and they got to get mind share, do you agree with Thrash that they need to lower that?
Yeah, I don't think they should lower that, because if you give in, like you're not gonna really profit in the beginning. Like just looking from their perspective, like keeping it at 30% is gonna what like keep them afloat like right now. So
gotcha.
I don't think they should lower it. I think it's probably a bad idea.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, I got the two elves on each shoulder. You know, one saying, "Yeah, lower it." The other one's like, "No, they got to make prop." You know what I'm saying? So I'm right there with y'all. But that's the tough thing, man. Like, do you make the sacrifice now, take the hit financially on the market for it to work out later? But to, like you said, it probably when can you ever raise it again? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's how they make the games for us too. Like, making it 30%. So it's not a good idea. I don't think.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay, so the question I asked before we had to separate was about the 450 games coming. What are your thoughts about that?
Wait, say again? Sorry.
I'm sorry. The 450 games that per the NASDAQ article are either in development or to be releasing as early as 2020. And they're gonna be rolled out over the next few years. I don't want to give the illusion that these are coming out tomorrow. They're gonna be rolled out over some time. What are your thoughts on these 450 games? You think that's a great number and it shows promise, or what thoughts do you have towards that?
That's a really good number. Especially if I don't know if they're saying like it's gonna be released like between 2020 2021, or if like in terms of like maybe 3 years, but even it doesn't really matter, because that's a lot of games right there, which means we're going to have a lot of content to play throughout the years. Like as long as they're being aggressive about pushing like games to the platform and just having a variety of different genres to play, that's kind of where I'm at. Like I want to see like a vast array of genres on the platform, like JRPGs, action adventure, more racers on the platform, more fighters. They got Mortal Kombat already, one of the biggest ones. I would love to see like Tekken on there at some point. That would be really sick. So that's good to me. More games, more playtime.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see here. What else do we have here? Ultimate. Okay. So now we're going to get to the $1 million question, Pablo.
What's up?
Ultimately, if you had a seat at the executive board, you're on board. You're like, you tested the product. You're like, okay, not only am I part of the management decision here, but I play these games and I know what works for gamers. If you had a seat at the executive board, what would you like to see? What do you like to see done, and what do you think is crucial that Google does over the next 12 months?
Okay, so I had to think about that for a second, because I saw the question down earlier when you sent me the notes. So my thing, I don't know how people are gonna feel about this in the chat, because I know some people are kind of like a little skeptical about what Xbox is doing with Game Pass, but I would really like to see Stadia kind of like build up their their portfolio of like studios or whatever, like have all of their games made and everything, and then put it with the pro membership, and then have it to where like they kind of make their own Game Pass, but you can still be able to buy it if you don't want to be stuck to a subscription. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
gotcha.
So
Yep.
it would be cool if they did something like that. I feel like that's something that they're probably gonna gear towards too in the
Mm-hmm.
future. I could
Mm-hmm.
see it coming.
Yep.
But that's what I would do. I think it would be beneficial to them.
What do you think will be a nice sweet spot? Like, because you know they're not gonna fold it into the $10 pro subscription. So if you want the pro nooks and crannies, the free game and all that other stuff, you in the 4K or the 8K when that is rolled out, you're gonna
Oh
have to
yeah.
pay the $10. What do you think will be a feasible additional price to pay on top of that?
Like if they want to get the 8K, you mean?
Or if for this for the Game Pass model on Stadia.
Oh, for the Game Pass model. Honestly, like I don't know like the statistics, like the logistics of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
would keep it like at $10. I wouldn't
Yeah,
really up the
yeah,
price.
yeah.
I would keep it at $10 because that's how much it is, with Xbox, and it seems to work. It seems to have worked out really well for them because
Mhm.
they just announced that Red Dead is coming to Game Pass. So I feel like the more people like I think that's a comfortable price for people to pay for like 100 games. Let's say if they had like 100 games on the pro pro subscription with just all their exclusives alone.
Yeah.
I think that would entice a lot of people, especially if it's different genres and everything.
Mhm.
Maybe do like some specials where it's like, maybe $5 for the month, and then that kind of what drags you in, like little things like that. I think will bring more people in.
Yeah. Now, to add on to what you said, yeah, I think so. Just to make sure I understand you right, you're saying we're not talking about the pro subscription. We're talking about a separate subscription of $10 that gets you access to a slew of AAA games or whatever for X.
Oh, oh,
And
okay.
on top of that, or I mean, I just want to double check. Are you saying on top, or are you saying that you think that in
I think
addition?
yeah. Like what I'm saying is like the pro subscription that we have right now, like
Yep.
those 100 games would be added to that subscription with no raise to the price or anything like that.
Oh,
Because I
I see
feel
what you're
like
saying.
I
Okay.
feel like if
Okay.
they raise it or make a separate sub subscription,
Uh huh.
I think it would confuse a lot of people. People wouldn't know what to get. You want to make it as clear as possible for the consumer. Be like, hey, look, if you get into the Pro Stadia, you're gonna get 100 games, exclusive games, different genres right off the
Hmm.
bat.
Okay.
Just all you got to do is just pay $10 a month.
Hmm.
You can buy them separately if you want. You don't have to get the subscription. But we have this as an option, for you to buy it only for $10 a month instead of buying it for full
I got
price.
you. I got you. Very interesting, very interesting. And I hope Google is listening to all this. Bippity Bob says Uplay Plus this year will be big. What do you think about that? Are you a fan of Ubisoft games at all, Pablo?
Oh man, that the Uplay Plus is that the streaming thing that they're doing too? For
Well,
games.
UPlay Plus is their. I'm actually a member of it now, and UPlay Plus is their version of Game Pass. It's all the Ubisoft games. You get access to them. You get access to the ultimate versions of them, and you get access to a few games that aren't by Ubisoft, I believe, too. I think there's like a total of 100 of them, and you pay like $15 a month, $14.99.
Oh! I did. Yeah, I did have that subscription for a while.
Okay.
I thought they because I remember hearing something about them doing a streaming thing too.
Yeah, they're coming. Yeah, well, their version of their stream, they're going to partner with Stadia, and they're going to stream those games. So instead of you just having to have a PC in order to access them, you can actually stream them via Stadia. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
nice.
do you think that'll have a big impact on Stadia at all, or?
Uh, um, it's really hard to say. I'm not really like a huge fan of Ubisoft right now. So
Hmm.
like the games they've been making, it's not really like hitting home with me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a big company. A lot of people still buy the games, every year. So
Hmm.
the more help from a big publisher like that, the better for Stadia because it's gonna help
Yeah.
it grow a lot more. So I'm not really against that aspect of it. But to answer your question, like about Ubisoft, I'm not really like a huge fan of them. But but it's looking like they're gonna start turning things around because I'm hearing they're gonna make a new Splinter Cell and all that. So as long as they change the formula for their games up, I'll come back around and support them.
Gotcha. I think, and I was talking to Duncan of Stadia Source about this, and what your sentiments are like very close to his. He's not big on it either, and he says it's not going to have weight. And I can be honest, even though I'm a big Ubisoft fanboy, um, it was a hurt piece when after Ghost Recon Breakpoint came out, and it really, like, I loved it at first, but then it wore off on me kind of quick, and then they made this update, and I'm not impressed by the update. And on lieu of all this, right, they pushed back everything. Watch Dogs got pushed back. This new game that was supposed to come out, that was supposed to be the PvE version of Rainbow, got pushed back. A lot of stuff got pushed back, and I kind of like diminished the value of Uplay Plus in my mind. So yeah, it's not going to have the heavy impact that we originally thought that it was going to have. So yeah, very interesting point. All right, so with all that said, anything else that you would do on the executive board over the next 12 months that you feel like is vital to the platform?
I would definitely push the Chromecasting, like bundled with the controller and everything. I'd probably lower it a little bit, because people might see like $140, even though that's way cheaper than a console. Like when I saw that price, I was like, yo, I'm going in. I don't care. But some people might still not be comfortable spending that much. Maybe do a special every now and then to entice people to play, because that's the best way to play, in my opinion, from what I've tested out extensively on each device. So I would push the Chromecast a lot more. But besides that, they're doing a pretty good job, especially lately with how they're rolling it out throughout this year.
To me, it would make more sense to do what you're saying as far as lowering the price of it to $99.99. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it $99.99. For the life of me, I don't understand why they think it's okay to give free months of Pro, which is a great idea. Don't get me wrong. Let me phrase this correctly. To give free months of Pro to everybody before you go into, but they feel like if something in them, they don't want to lower the price of this package. They did it like a while ago for only like a day or two. And to me, that's silly. Like, what you need to do right now, Google, is you need data. You need data not only from people being able to play online, but you need data from Chromecast Ultras. And the way I feel about it is, if you're willing to make an investment into an ecosystem, the more likelihood you are to try things out and stay. The simple fact that I paid $130, if I'm having some hiccups, I'm more likely to try it out and fix my network, to opposed to where I'm just logging online. I'm like, screw it. I don't like it. There's latency. I'm going to abandon it quicker. But if I made some type of frontline investment, I'm going to try it out more, and I'm going to find out that I liked it. So it boggles me, but I guess that's the way they know what they're doing. They're the richest company in the world for some reason. But in my mind, I think that they should, to, like you said, lower that price. I think $100 is a sweet spot. Do it while you're running this promotion. I think that'd be a fantastic idea.
Yep.
Anything else before we move on to the news?
That's about it for right now. Yeah.
Before we move on to the news, Moses has a great point. He says data is how Google can plow through this with accuracy. Absolutely. And Antonio says, funny you should say that. The Chromecast is on sale. That's
is
interesting.
It really? I paid like $140 like when I bought it at the time. It was like about like a week ago. So I'm not sure when they put that on sale.
You know what? I wonder, Antonio, let us know if that's the regular Chromecast or the Chromecast Ultra that's on sale. And in order for you to play on the Chromecast, it's kind of pointless if you don't have the controller too. You know what I'm saying? Because right now you can't connect anything else to it but the Stadia controller. So, and then real quick, KB says, I think that when Stadia Gen 2 launches, the base will go 4K 60 and destroy next gen consoles this Christmas. That's very interesting. What do you think about that, Pablo?
We'll have to see, because I don't think they would make like. How would that work? Like, for them to make the base version like 4K 60? I think they will still have the option to go to like 720p and then 1080 and stuff. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that plays out.
I think what he's saying is that, see, right now, for the vast majority of the games, when you select the 4K option, it's 4K 30 and it's not 4K 60. There are a handful of games that when you put it in 4K mode, it stays at 60 frames per second. Those games are Borderlands, Destiny, Division, what else? Wolfenstein, and there's some Enrage. There's a bunch of games. There's I would say about it's 50-50. Not all of the games when you put in 4K mode stay in 60. And I think what he's saying is that when Gen 2 comes out, everything is going to be 60 frames per second. All levels, at all levels, is going to be 60.
Let me ask you this real quick. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, that's good. I was just babbling. Go ahead.
So when they do that, when they introduce Gen 2 of Stadia or 2.0, is it the job of the developer to up the frame rate, or is it gonna do it automatically, like how it kind of would on like a PC, like when you install like a new GPU or something?
That what happens is, as far as the frame rate is concerned, they have like this Google has this doubling method that they're able to work some trickery and they create 60 frames per second, even though you've coded it to be 30. Their system automatically makes it 60. Now, going off of what you told me about Final Fantasy, it looks like the only game that doesn't work for is Final Fantasy, that something happened behind the scenes to where they couldn't use that trick to get it at 60 frames per second, even in the balance mode. The thing is that, what Gen 2 is going to do is it's going to do it even the games that are struggling to do 4K 60, Gen 2 is then going to double it again to where it can do the 60 regardless. I think the reason why you're not seeing a lot of 4K 60 or you're not seeing it across the board is because of bandwidth. Google is very concerned with bandwidth. They stated earlier in 2019 that they're still working on ways to get you guys high fidelity, 60 frames per second, but lower bandwidth, and they're working on compression tools and newer codecs, and they just haven't gotten there yet. And it looks like that they may get there with the Gen 2 hardware. So once they do that, they'll be able to do more tricks and double it again to 4K 60. So
that's nice, man. That's what I like to hear. Like that was one thing I was interested in hearing about from them, was like if they were working on like having it to where like, because I know the minimum right now I think it's like I think like 20 megs for to have 1080p. Like if they can like work some magic to where like they could decrease that to like 10, like maybe even 5 in the future. Like if they're working towards something like that, this is a good investment. Like I feel like if you want to jump into Stadia
Talk, aka Chase, said in response to what we're talking about now, he said devs had to utilize the tools, which is they got to utilize the tools. Okay. And secondly, to his point, I think Chase monitors because he has a cap. He has a data cap. And he's playing all the time. And I think that Chase alluded that their new compression dropped it from 20 to 15, I think he said. So they're already there. I think. That's a big deal. Chase, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But yeah, definitely. No, you're absolutely right. All right. So we got an idea of what they should do. Google, I hope you were paying attention because this was fantastic stuff. Everybody, please tweet this out, because what we're going to do is typically when I go over the news, I go bibble babble for hours, spit all over my pop filter, and then people go, calm down. But we're not going to do that today. Today, I'm just going to kindly go over the articles. I'm going to relax, not get my blood pressure up. And I'm going to let Pablo say whether he feels that this is important or not. And it's important to do this because, like I was trying to explain to my Xbox brethren yesterday, it don't matter what y'all think. Xbox already has y'all. So Stadia brethren, it doesn't matter what we think. Stadia already has us. It's people like Pablo, who's very enthused and excited about the platform, but it's people like him that he's new to this, and they got to know how to keep him, right? So we got to go over this news, and we got to get Pablo's perspective from this news. It's not going to be about MM2K today. It's going to be about what people like Pablo think, because that's what's going to help grow our platform that we enjoy and sustain it. So let's go at it. All right. So first, Digital Foundry backtrack. So Pablo, how familiar are you with the Stadia community's backlash for Digital Foundry. What do you understand about what's going on?
Yeah, so I know y'all got a little beef with them right now going on, little gang war going on with the
flags,
Foundry. Yeah, so I know this kind of stemmed from the whole Doom Eternal thing. I know they were kind of saying it was like the worst way to play the game, but then they backtracked and said like once they played on the browser, like the latency decreased and all that. Like honestly, I don't know. Like sometimes I just feel like they get paid to like do certain things and like they'll praise it whenever it's convenient for them. So I don't really pay them any mind, honestly. I just kind of the only time I ever look for them is when they talk about new consoles coming out or like just specific things about a console. But I never really look for them as like the end all be all of like opinions when it comes to just anything gaming, really.
I never did. And before I chime in and share my screen on something, Chase did respond. He said closer to 2.75 to 3 gigs per hour. Not to keep in mind, Pablo, just so you understand what he's talking about. What Chase does is he plays in 720p mode. However, he plays in HDR, and what he says is when you play 720 in HDR and you play 1080 in HDR, you can't tell the difference. And a good friend of ours, Projekt Stream, has attested to that. Project Storm, Project Storm has attested to that. He's a tech guy within the community. He even does a neat thing where he uses Shadow Blade to play Stadia, and it looks awesome. So you can even like do little tricks like that, play in 720p HDR, and it kind of upscales it to 1080p somehow, and then you still use less data, you know what I mean? So just to give you some tips and tricks. I don't know what type of TV you play on, if you play in HD or anything like that, but just so you're aware of that.
Okay, that's a good tip. Actually, I didn't even know about that.
Let me see here.
Does HDR add to the data being used, or is that just something that's naturally on there when you use it?
I don't. That's a good ass question. I don't.
Yeah, because I was wondering about that.
Yeah. I would assume so, but I could be wrong. If you're only playing 2.75 and 3 gigs per hour, I would say if it is, it's very little. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And he said Stadia Talk says doesn't add. So that's awesome.
Oh,
that is
nice,
awesome.
Man. Yeah, that's awesome. I need to get a really good HDR TV, man. I got a 4K TV in the back here, but the HDR implementation is trash.
I got you. Yep. And I have HDR on my TV. I can attest that the HDR on Stadia is fantastic for the games that I've played, but I don't have HDR on any of my monitors. I mainly play on the computer, so and it still looks great. So but no, that's good to know. All right. So let me do this real quick, Pablo. I'm going to share my screen right here. And I'm just going to have this play in the background as we talk. This is the Digital Foundry flip-flop video where they you pretty much hit it on the head. They said that they said a lot of disparaging things about Stadia, but I don't get mad at people for their opinions. I get mad where people muffle facts and they try to pass it off. They try to pass off their opinions as facts. And not Stadia, but Digital Foundry did that. The community corrected them. To Chase's point of Stadia Talk, he says that in culmination with that NASDAQ article, in culmination with Richard Ledbetter coming to them saying, look, you guys are screwing up my name. We think that they had to push things back, and they did. My thoughts though, however, were on the backtrack, we're better off without them, because we're better off not leaning on them at all. I know they garner a lot of respect in the community, but see, me and you, we kind of familiar with the crumb side. You know what I'm saying? We've been there with Digital Foundry. Yeah. We've seen, and big ups to the homie King Thrash. Like I said this earlier, me and Thrash did not agree on his original clapback at Digital Foundry about Gears. We didn't agree, but we came to an end result that they was up to some funny duddy stuff to fill up their pockets. And I want to say something that Chase always says and get your thoughts on it. It's important whether they're doing it for your platform of choice or my platform of choice that we all band together and don't let people tell falsehoods, because how's the saying go, Chase? First they came for the butcher and I said nothing. Then they came for the barber and I said nothing. Then they came for me and there was no one left to protect me. You know what I'm saying? So if Digital Foundry keeps getting away with lying about platforms for their own convenience, it's going to cause a problem in the community. And that's why I think it's just better for us to just ignore them and tell them to keep away. Is that too harsh? Or what are your overall thoughts on this whole matter?
I mean, it's a little harsh because like they do bring attention like to certain things, like because they have their own crowd. So it was nice to see him like go back and be like, yo, this does play really well on the browser, so that might open up people to come to it. So yeah. I mean, it's a little harsh, but I understand where y'all coming from, and they do talk a lot of shit, but about the Stadia thing,
yeah.
With the whole compression and all that. But it was nice to see them say and like actually admit that that it plays really well on the browser. But I'm sure it plays well on the Chromecast. It's just people's experiences are gonna vary, unfortunately, due to like the internet speeds of everyone. But if it works, it works. Play it wherever it's best. That's why they give you the option to play in different devices, which is I think smart.
Yeah, no, I agree, and Chase feels the same way. I know I keep invoking Chase's name a lot. I know he's like, dude, if you don't stop saying my name, they're gonna think me and you are a couple. Chase feels the same way that you do, and I completely understand where they're coming from. And I'm not saying what I'm thinking is right or wrong. It's just me being the cutthroat jackass that I'm known to be. Like, fool me once, shame on you. That's that's just the motto that I live by. So, that's it. No, that's an excellent take on that, I think. And yeah, and you are right. I mean, to your point, Pablo, whether I feel some way about them or not, they did help bring to light that Stadia works, and that is going to have a positive impact for the platform. So you are right. Let me see here. Okay, so next, what we have here, I want to get your thoughts on it, is this article. Let me share my screen again. Is this article that is on broadbandbullies.com, where this fine young lad by the name of MM2K, where we talk about devs gives praises to Stadia 2.0 over Xbox Series X, and it's an article written by your boy. And what this dev does is what happened was, and I don't know how familiar you are with the story, but what happened is there's a podcast called Stadia Cast. Are you familiar with them, Pablo?
I think I've seen a clip recently, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Bill and Lloyd, they do fantastic stuff. And currently right now I think they're like the largest Stadia podcast out there. So definitely check them out. Check out the link when you get a chance and check them out. Okay. But Bill and Lloyd were in their last episode of Stadia Cast. They were talking to developers. The developers wanted to, remain, undisclosed. And they said that for the games that they're working on for next gen, that their games perform better on generation 2 of Stadia, which is rumored to be the 8K 120 frames per second, capability hardware. It's running better on Stadia than it is on Xbox Series X. What are your thoughts about that?
That's great. It's a little vague because it's like, is he saying like the games are running at 8K 120 FPS? Mm-hmm. But what I really think it's gonna be is probably like maybe in certain games they'll probably be able to do like 4K 120, a lot better than Series X. Maybe the Series X can only do it at 60 FPS, 4K. So I think that's what it's really gonna be. And sometimes when they're vague like that, I think it's just kind of like to kind of just get people excited. But I'm hoping that it's running better than the Xbox Series X, because that would mean I won't have to upgrade my PC or get a console or anything like that. So if you got your games running at 8K 120, I'm all there, man. I'm all there.
Absolutely. That's the big thing. Like, if I gotta get an Xbox, okay, I'll get it. Look, here's my plan, and I don't know what your plans are going into next generation. I have Stadia. I already got my PC. I'll upgrade where I need be. I got Stadia, and the only other dedicated device solution investment I might make is the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I don't plan to get in the next Xbox because why would I pay $500 to or $600, whatever the price may be, just for a single box when I can plug that $500 or $600 into my computer and play the Xbox games there? You know what I mean? Like, if I really feel that bad that I got to try the Xbox games at the best fidelity, I'll just play them on my PC. But if I'm going to make an investment, I'm going to invest it in a PlayStation 5 if I'm going to make an additional investment. What are your plans going into next gen?
So my plan, I was thinking the same thing. Just investing in my PC if I need to. I don't think I really will because the Stadia, is gonna keep me busy if they introduce a lot more games. So I'm probably not gonna upgrade this thing for a while. It's already good where it's at. But I'll probably invest in the PS5 as well because I like their exclusive lineup of games. I'm a big fan of their games too. So I'll probably put an investment in that. That'll probably be the hugest investment I'll make in terms of like money into a console. And then I'll be buying Stadia games throughout the year, depending on what they announce.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. Next, let me share my screen again. We got this story. Fortnite now available on Google Play Store. Could we see it on Stadia in the future? And this is coming to us courtesy of our friends at StadiaSource.com, the number one source for Stadia news. This is from Dan. Big ups to Dan Wheeler of Stadia. And for those of you that don't know, go to Stadia Source. You can link your account. You can actually launch your Stadia games from StadiaSource.com. It's a neat website. Definitely become part of the community. That's how you can meet people in the community. They got a lot of interactive stuff. This site is just phenomenal. So I urge everyone to definitely sign up for that site when you can. But they talk about, Pablo, how Fortnite, Tim Sweeney and Epic has had this battle with Google because they don't like that 30%, right? And they finally they tried to sue them to try to get them to lower it. And they lost. So they gave in and they said, okay, well, we want to be on a Google Play App Store. We're going to pay the 30%. And he did it mumbling under his breath, Tim Sweeney. But before that, when this was all still playing out, people were like, oh man, we're not going to see Fortnite, the biggest game in the world right now, or possibly, I would presume it still is. We're not going to see Fortnite on Stadia because of this battle. But do you think because they gave in and they actually, interacted with the Play Store, do you think that would be that would lay the groundwork to them coming to Stadia? And secondly, how important is it if it does or not?
I think it's important for this game to come to the platform because they have like their own fan base, like just separated from everything else. So like that being on Stadia alone is just going to bring in a huge array of people, especially if they don't, put it behind a paywall or anything. They just make it free off the, off tops and like just put it on there. Like I know people are seeing this and saying like, this doesn't mean it's going to come to Stadia. But this is a good way to like really start a relationship to like port it over. The 30%, they were probably fighting over that for a long time, but it had to be done. They had to do what they had to do to bring it on there.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I mean, Tim Sweeney thinks that he has influence. He's, to me, on the Epic game, he's gotten away with some stuff on the Epic Game Store. He figured he'd be able to get away with it here, but it didn't work. So, but hopefully they can mend those wounds and they can get over it. All right. So that is officially it, Pablo, for all of our news and all my interrogation. But anything else that you want to elaborate on before we go to the Q&A section where we go to the chat and they start peppering you with questions? Anything else that you want to elaborate on before we do that? Uh-oh. All right, you got to, well, before we move on until he comes back, let's do this. Let's start getting some questions going on. We got Alberto and everybody get your questions together for the Q&A. We have. Let me see here. We still.
I'm back, man. I'm sorry, man. I got a lot of.
Oh no, that's
family,
okay.
man.
That's all right. No, because if you got to get off, I get it. I'll just go to and ask people questions. But we were about to go to the questions and answer section anyway. My question to you was, before we do that, was there anything else that you wanted to elaborate on? Oh,
yo, sorry. What was that?
No, that's okay. No. I was saying, before we go to Q&A, was there anything else that you wanted to elaborate on?
Yeah, just the free to play. Like, I really want to like stress that home. I think it's a trickle effect. Like, they drop one of those games on there, it's gonna trickle over to all the other games that's on there, even the pro membership that's on there. So yeah, I really hope Google's listening to this right now. Like, you guys should really like be aggressive with that. I think the free to play is really what's gonna really push the platform to another level, honestly. And I'm not one to really like be like a big fan of like free to play games because of the whole microtransaction thing. But in this case, it's really gonna benefit the platform like a shit ton.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm like, that's what we've been saying. We were like, oh, everything is like okay, but it's hard to make inroads without the biggest games being on your platform. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can how can you be a platform? Like, the argument is, Pablo is like, okay, this is for the hardcore. No, this is it's not for the hardcore because they don't have enough games. Okay, fine. Well, it's for the casuals. It's not for the casuals because they don't have the games that the casuals are playing. So it's like you're backed up into a corner, and you can't be neither. If you ain't got the games, and you got to have at least the casual experiences that people want to play. So yeah, I'd wholeheartedly agree. That's big. All right, so we already got a question for you. Let's head on. Being that's the case, let's head on over to. That's wrong. Sorry, y'all. Let's head on over to the question section, and we got the homie Antonio. He asked Pablo. He says, "What is your opinion on the current free-to-play behind Pro? Because it looks like that's the only way Google's going to make it work." And what he's talking about, Pablo, is you had alluded to that you were hopeful that they do it without a paywall being present, but it looks like Google's not going to do that. And I think they're not. We've said that they're not doing that because you got to think about it like this. I want to play Fortnite. Let's just say I'm one of the Fortnite players that never buys. That I don't use V-Bucks. So I'm clogging up your system. I'm not buying V-Bucks, and I haven't made an investment into Stadia at all. But there's 3 million of us clogging up your system. That's problematic for Stadia. Those are our thoughts. So they do put it behind. You got to at least be a pro member in order to play free to play games. What are your thoughts? Antonio's asking, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I don't know if that's gonna sit well with a lot of people. Like, if you put because you gotta look at it this way. Like, I got Red Dead Redemption 2 on Stadia. I could play that without having a pro subscription. So but when I play a free to play game, I have to buy it. So it's just gonna create confusion. You got to think about the people they want to try to cater to as well. I understand it, because they want to reap the benefits from, they probably understand how much money a free to play game makes, but they're gonna have to suck it up and just make it to where let's just not put it behind a paywall and just ask the devs hey, can we get 30%, 25% of that, whatever you make off the microtransactions, and try to work out something with that. Doing it behind a paywall is going to be a huge mistake.
Okay. Let me see here. Any other questions for Pablo, y'all? This is bigger than me. I know y'all. And then if you have suggestions too, throw it out there. We'll get Pablo's thoughts on them. Let me see here. Boulder Madonna says the worst it's Stadia wins all games will be developed on Vulkan, an open source graphic controller. Games over DirectX. Okay, I'm not quite sure. I think I'm in the middle of a conversation that is above my pay grade.
Yeah, I don't even understand that question. He kind of lost me there. Hey, man, I just play the games. I don't know how they made it.
Yeah. That's well above. Yeah, we got a lot of technically knowledgeable people in the community. Antonio says, also out of curiosity, I searched up patents Google made in 2019 in regards to streaming, and they have one talks about. I'm digging for questions out of a tech. Let me see here. Hold on. Okay, here goes one from Bippity Bob.
Question.
Bippity Bob says maybe Stadia should just buy some Sony studios, laugh out loud, and just put their games in a Game Pass model, laugh out loud. Just kidding.
Oh man.
But hold on, you said somebody King Thrash, he says, what do you think Stadia's identity is? I'll answer that after you. What do you think Stadia's identity is?
Identity? I'm not sure I understand that question, but I guess their identity right now, like from my perspective, like they're like their identity is that like you pick up and play, like that's what they kind of, especially from what I read from the box, like just play wherever you want to go, like wherever there's internet, at least just play wherever you want to be. You're not constrained to like one device, like they got multiple personalities, if I have to bring in a metaphor, so that's kind of how I see their identity, to me anyway.
No, I think that's spot on. I think to answer Thrash's question, I think we got to think out of the, I don't want to say vocal minority, but I kind of do. We got to get out of the vocal minority mind state. We think that every single gamer has 3 or 4 hours to play a game every day. That's what we think. And we hear it all the time. Oh, if you ain't doing over 30 hours of gaming a week, you ain't a real gamer. Well, no, I could desire to play games, but if I'm a father, grandfather, person that works 12 hours and I want to play games, but I just can't, then does that make me less of a gamer? I have the desire. I would play if I could. I just don't have the capabilities of doing it. Yeah. So that's like, if you go to you're not a gym, you're not a basketball player. You don't play basketball more than 100 hours a week. No, but when I get in there, I can play well. I'm a hellified basketball, and I'm not in real life. I'm just using as an example. I'm horrible, but I get in there. I can get down with the best. It's just I can't do it that often, and that's where Stadia has its biggest ploy with people that just want to get in. Like I said, that are like me. That sometimes you only have 45 minutes. You really want a game, but with updates and all this other bull BS that you got to deal with dedicated devices. When you see that that download screen, you're like, forget it. I'm just going to turn on Hulu. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I think I know a friend too, Pablo, that used to work with me. He was in our IT department and he loved Arc. He loved Arc so much it was ridiculous. But our job was sending him all over the country. You know what this crazy dude would do? Because you needed a powerful PC to run Arc at a decent level. This dude, he was a PC gamer. Every time he went to a new city, this dude would go to Best Buy, buy a powerful ass rig, set it up, play Arc. Then when it was time for him to move to a new city, he would just take it back to Best Buy. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Yeah, and Stadia gets rid of that necessity because all he got to do is just whip out his laptop, whip out his Chromecast controller while he's in the hotel, boom, just plug it into the TV and play. There are so many gamers that fit into that bill. I work with people, fathers, grandfathers that play games, right? But they just can't do it right now because of the constraints of dedicated devices. So Stadia's identity, to answer it in the short term, and I'll get your thoughts on this before we move on. To me, the biggest identity that Stadia has is convenience. What are your thoughts on that, Pablo?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like mostly the main draw for them right now, since they don't really have like the games up there yet. Like convenience is something that they should really bring up a lot more often. They're already doing it, but like just kind of hammer it home, and yeah, like just the fact that you could just pick up and play. The only time that you really have to set up something is when you first install it, like with the Chromecast. But after that, once you plug that bad boy in, you turn on the controller, your Stadia screen's right there, all your games is right there. You pick up and play, you boot it up in the game. The load times are like almost non-existent, with the game. So So like that convenience is like really good, and it's just nice to not have to like download something and wait for
Exactly.
an update, to finish, because these games get updated like almost every other day now at this point. So it's good that they have that convenience there, so you don't have to worry about those things in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to a real gamer only does this or a real game. I mean I do think that
Oh
there
yeah,
are
that's
some
bullshit, man.
minimals. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I don't subscribe to that. And um think about it like this, Thrash, because Thrash commented so convenient, and I can hear the threat so convenient. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I already know he was gonna throw back to something else.
Exactly, yeah. And
Uh,
I don't. That's important. Like Thrash, you just don't understand, and thank God you're not in that position. You know what I'm saying? I wish I wasn't in that position. I can't game the way that I want to. My kids are psycho. Kids calling me, wife hounding me. You know, as soon as I get off this podcast, to be fully transparent, I gotta go sit up there with my mother-in-law for several hours until we do multiplayer tonight, because the family ordained me the person to sit with her, because I'm the least likely to have COVID because I work from home. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I don't have the time that I would love to have to play games. You know what I'm saying? That being said, this is something that's key to me. Think about it like this, Thrash. Let's just say if you want to drive a high performance car, you've been driving high performance cars, you know what I'm saying? Or luxury cars. You finally got the money to get a luxury car, but you ain't got the money for the upkeep, particularly the gas, because a lot of luxury cars, Pablo, you got to get premium gas. You can't get regular petrol. You got to get premium gas. And let's just say Stadia comes along. It gives you a high performance car or a luxury car, but you can get premium gas for it. Now you ain't left out. Now you can enjoy the luxury cars without having to make the premium investment. You see what I'm saying? And that's where Stadia, as far as convenience and broad outreach, maybe that's the best way to describe its identity, is convenience and broad outreach. It's bringing more games to more gamers, and I think that's a good thing. Any thoughts on that before we move on to the next question?
Yeah. I noticed Thrash said that they need a gaming identity, because he said the games are the identity of a platform. And he's definitely right about that. The games are the identity. But like I'm trying to give them time, because I can see the potential and where this thing could go. Like if I'm liking where it's at right now, and they don't have like a really good lineup of games, if they invest in what they say they're gonna invest in, it's gonna be worthwhile. Because
exactly.
not like Thrash, like we can't have everything now. Like like maybe they could have lined up an array of developers, but sometimes some things don't work out like right away like that. So I'm investing in them. I'm gonna invest money in them so that they can put it back and into developers and bring in more studios. Just like how people are doing with Xbox, like it took them a whole generation to get that shit together. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get to where they're at right now, to build up all these studios, and hopefully, they deliver on their promises. So it's kind of like the same thing with Stadia right now. We just can't have everything like in the now. Like people want to rush everything right now.
All right. So great question. Great interaction. Let me see here. Do we have any other questions? KB Ubuntu, and I might have to break this one down for you, or you might be familiar with it. So KB Ubuntu says, do you think that Google will make a move in May since Google I.O. is canceled? Now, what Google I.O. is, it's their tech presentation, where they go into the deep dive on what's coming later. Like that's how we figured out about the 8K 120 in a lot of regards, and how Google Stadia is going to work. So as far, and it's the equivalent of what they would do for GDC, right? In a lot of ways. He's saying, do you think Google will make a move in May since Google? I think, to Pablo's point earlier, that they're going to do all of that in one big swoop. I don't think that they're going to let this release to the public just fall to deaf ears. I think they're going to do something like E3 style and present something to the public that's going to be their attempt to capture the casual gamer. What do you think they're going to do, Pablo?
I feel like they're gonna have a presence in June. Maybe they might tease some stuff out in May because we're gonna be a month away from E3. I know everybody's gonna probably be doing just digital events only, due to the pandemic and everything, which is definitely understandable. But yeah, I would like to see them tease some stuff like in the beginning of May, and then have like the big blowout of games shown like at E3, like have their own digital event, show what's coming like this holiday, and then beyond, in the beginning of the year, Q1 of 2021, and just kind of like show us some like really big AAA stuff. I'm not expecting like anything exclusive. Maybe they might announce like a second party partnership with a really big developer. That would be cool to see. But besides that, I'm not really expecting like anything like crazy like exclusive wise, because I know they're making investments like right now in that. Maybe next year.
I'm just contacting my son. He said, "Did you contact this customer?" I don't know what he thinks I'm gonna do. Someone's hacked into his account because I know he doesn't have an antivirus on his damn computer as usual. Did you contact Steam support?
Oh,
I am not Steam support. He's asking me about Steam while I'm doing a Stadia podcast.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Wait, does your son play CS:GO?
Yeah, you know what, he sure does. Yep.
Oh man, that's why, man. There's a whole thing going on with all the Valve games. Somebody hacked into all of them, and if you play like a match or something, like your PC gets infected or something like that. It's something wild, man. Yeah, he should delete that right away if he can.
Let me see here. Do you play? Yeah. The big Valve hack. I mean, I don't know what he wants me to do. I'm doing a podcast anyway. Hold on. Let me. You're gonna live on air. Me being a cutthroat dad, son.
Yeah, what's up?
I know you're panicking, but I'm on a podcast with my good friend Pablo. We're talking about Stadia, and you calling me about some damn Steam while I'm doing a Stadia podcast. So, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Did you play CS:GO recently or something?
What?
You play CS:GO recently?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened.
Man.
Don't you pay attention to the news? Pablo just told me you game 24/7. You game 29 hours out of the damn day. You weren't paying attention to the news?
Oh.
I do. I could have said that.
Oh man, yeah, they hacked that game to
free
shit.
to play. So I went back on Counter-Strike because I got this loyalty badge, because you get that badge to prove that you bought it, and you get to like trade with people or whatever. And I was like, I didn't even know. And that loyalty badge, I don't know.
It was fake, and it infected your computer. All right. Well, look. Let me. When I get off, I'll work with you and see what we can do.
Take care of some of these accounts and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
You do your podcast.
This is exactly why we don't game share, bro. Because they would have had my information. I'd be over there putting my foot all up in your ass. What's up?
Counter-Strike so far. What's going on?
Well, Pablo's just telling me, bro, you better start reading. I want to break his skull. You got to start reading the news, bro. Like they hacked all the Valve games. All of them been hacked. So when you play a Valve game and infects your computer, and then they wipe out your account, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to uninstall CS:GO.
Okay, all right, bro. Let me get you after this podcast, okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right, love you. Bye. Woo, that boy. He's a nerd, but he don't pay attention to nothing. Drives me crazy. Anyway, all right. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah.
So let me see here. They said Team Fortress 2 is also affected. All right, so let's get back to some more questions. Bippity Bop says, that's one thing people don't talk about on Stadia. No cheaters. Yeah, that's perfect. Hey, yo, no cheaters, and everyone is on the same level when it comes to competitive. No pay to win. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as far as I've seen, I haven't seen anybody cheating. Like, because I know, on like other versions of Division 2, there's been an array of cheaters. But I haven't seen that on Stadia. It's been like pretty clean so far. Mind you, I haven't hit the dark zone yet, so I don't know how that's like. That, that's where the PvP is. Yeah. So I gotta wait and see. But I'm sure it'll be fine though.
We've done some cross-play with PCP, and we haven't noticed any cheating yet. But yeah, that's always been lurking in the back of my mind.
I forgot
Yeah, bro, it's crossplay with PC. Yeah. Matter of fact, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to become part of that mob clan on the Division. So as long as you're past level 5, you can join the mob. Yeah, we're a mix of Stadia and PC people, and we've played Dark Zone against some PC people, and we were mopping them. You know what I'm saying? So very interesting stuff. So let me see here. What else? King Thrash says great answers. Thank you, Thrash. And bro, we're going to get you one-on-one. Matter of fact, what I might just do, I think it's going to be an interesting show. If Pablo do it, I'll get both of y'all mugs on here. Let y'all duke it out.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, I love Thrash, man. He speaks his mind, no bullshit. Absolutely. He don't beat around the bush, man.
Absolutely. Like to say, I think that's any other questions while we got Pablo here. And please, no uber technical stuff. That's not our level of expertise right now.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say though, Moses brought up something about crossplay. I would like more games to open up, like especially like a game like Red Dead. The player base doesn't seem like it's really there yet in terms of like the PvP. I feel like if they opened it up to like the Rockstar players, that's on that launcher, Steam. What else is on Epic Game Store and all that? It would help. It would just help the game flourish a lot more, and make the game feel more lively on Stadia. So I would love to see more games do crossplay because it's just beneficial to everybody.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. Yep. Do crossplay, and because again that player base is light, and the crossplay between and the Division has been key. I think it's been key to its success.
It's been great on Division, man.
Oh man, I love it, bro. The Division is there are some games on Stadia for me, all of them because of that 60 frames per second, except for I'm glad you educated me on that Final Fantasy 15. But all of them to me, because I love that 60 frames per second, they're ideal for me. You know what I'm saying? In the portability. But there were just some games that undoubtedly, are perfect on Stadia because of not only do you get great fidelity, but you get smooth gameplay, and you ain't got to, plug in the $1,300 into your computer in order to get it. And to me, it's Division. It's the balance mode on Borderlands, and it's Destiny. Like Destiny at launch had its problems visually, but that game looks fantastic and it plays fantastic now. So definitely try those out if you're into Destiny. I know Destiny's a hard pill to swallow for many, but what were you going to say, Pablo?
No, I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay. Let me see. I just had. Do we have anybody else? Any other comments, y'all? Before, let me see.
What y'all got for me, guys? What y'all got for me?
Yeah, come on, guys. We got Pablo here. Book. Come on. Let me ask you a question, Pablo, about because I got this comment thrown at me earlier, and do you think that because Thrash brought up a good point? There's really no games that make people go, I got to get this. But do you think that Baldur's Gate, that even though it has a niche audience, it has a large niche audience because of Larian Studios and Baldur's Gate fans, but would that be a game? I don't know if you've seen any of it, but would that be a game that now that you have access to Stadia, you would be interested to play it? It may not bring you to Stadia, but if you have it, it might be a game that you would be interested in trying, yes or no?
So actually I think that's what I became like more aware of like the content that you did when I saw you talk about that. I saw some clips of it. It's really interesting. It's not like my type of game, but I wouldn't mind trying it, honestly. Depending on the price. I don't know if I get it for like a full 60. It just depends where I'm at. Like if I'm just bored, I might just cop it. But I think like I was saying earlier, like having a vast array of genres is gonna bring in like a good group of people to the platform. So if you have that genre, like those people might not be fond of the platform before that was announced, and now that they seen like, yo, they got this genre on this platform, like, yo, let me invest in and see what they're doing on that on these side of the woods and shit. So I think it's a good addition to the platform. I would like some of these games to like like kind of like invest like the cloud features like in some of their games. I don't know if that game's multiplayer, but just speaking on like games in the future, like I would love to see like maybe like that 1,000 players in a battle royale,
Yeah.
like how they were saying that like the tech is like really promising, honestly, like what they could do with just like cloud
Absolutely.
based data. So yeah,
Yeah, you have.
I'm
Go
interested
ahead.
in
No, go
that
ahead.
game.
No, I was gonna say, you have to be someone that appreciates the promising aspects of something. I think right now to really like get attached to Stadia. If you're someone like, and I'm not saying this to be I'm not saying this to be disparaging. If you're someone like Thrash who's like, look, man, you gotta have a full 5 course like right here on my table. Don't bring me the salad, breadsticks later, the marmalade after that. Like I want to see everything right here, right now, because I know you're not fooling me, and I can respect that, right?
Yeah.
But you got to be somebody that can get stuff piecemeal and say, okay, I see where you're going with this to appreciate it. But even though that is the case, I think a lot of people are like, show me now. You know what I'm saying? And to that point, what would be a sweet point for you to buy something like Baldur's Gate? What would be, and any prices? There is no wrong answer to this. What would be, and because Google needs to hear this, they got to hear this in their evaluation. Again, Larian Studios is going to set the price, but what Google can do is offset it with Google credit. You know what I'm saying? What would be a sweet point for you to say, okay, this is how much I'm willing to pay for Baldur's Gate?
I'd say $40-$50. Like,
okay,
I wouldn't mind budgeting like with the 50.
Yeah.
Just especially since like it's niche. Like, and especially like since like it's not like a physical game either. Like it's all like it's all like digital technically. So like I feel like they should offset the price a little bit since they don't have to pay up to buy spend on physical copies of a game. But I don't think they'll ever do that. That's just kind of me hoping for something like that. But yeah, I'd say $50 is a sweet spot, man. That's a good sweet spot for me to try the game. But I think I'm gonna just bite the bullet, man, because it looked amazing. Like the facial effects and everything, like the models, it looked amazing. It was just the combat is something I gotta get used to. Like I was a little drawn back by it, but I was mesmerized by like the level of detail they put into the characters and shit.
I think that what they need to do is, I wish Larian Studios would do this. I wish they would lower the price because their games are expensive, bro.
What was the last game they made?
Divinity 2. Divinity 2. And that mug is still $40-$50 on Steam.
50? Damn.
Yeah, it's still 50. That game is old, man. It's still $50 on Steam, bro. Like, I mean, their games are that hot, though. The demand for their games is that hot. They can do that, right? But I wish Larian in the Walk Up 2, because this is releasing on Steam, too. Which is, I think is cool. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the cross-play with PC that you can do. With that being said, lower the price of Divinity and all the other games like now so people can get familiar with your style of game. So someone like Pablo can sit there and say, well, I'm interested in Baldur's Gate. They're going to bring their Larian Studio style games to Baldur's Gate now. Let me try this game out for $15, $20 and see if it's something that, you know what I'm saying? That might warm you up into wanting to make that investment. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Big ups to Chase the Stadia Talk. He says, great convo. And he says, respect to Pablo for keeping it 100. Exactly. This is fantastic. Bippity Bob Moses Johnson had a question. He said, what do you think of Watchdog Legions? Is that something that interests you at all, Pablo?
Yeah, like at first when I saw it, I was like, damn, they're making another Watch Dogs game. Like, it just looks so generic. But then I was looking more into it. I was like, damn, you can kind of switch to anybody in the world and shit and like just go around London, like just fucking everything up. I don't know. It's kind of intrigued me a little bit more like throughout the months. I just want to see a little bit more of it. I know with everything that's happened, they probably have to push some things to like not really show it off. But it'll probably be at E3 this year. I know it was supposed to come out like this past November, right? Or something. Yeah, so it got pushed back. That's probably with good reason. They probably have to work on it a little more. I'm looking out for that game now. So I'm excited to see what they show off from it. This coming E3.
Great point by Bibbidi Bob here. He says you can refund it to Pablo if you don't like it. So what Stadia does is they give you like what is it? What is that?
Like 2 hours, right?
Yeah, 2 hours or something like that. Yeah. I mean, but a game like that, that's hard to make a determine. You know what I'm saying? Within 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, because there's so much story and stuff. Exactly. Yeah. But Chase had a great question. He says, at MM2K, I have a question for Pablo. Does Madden, FIFA, and Call of Duty bring casual, mid-core, and hardcore players to the platform, in your opinion?
I think so. Especially like more specifically with COD, like those are the games. Like if you look at the top 10 games like every month and stuff, you're gonna see those 3 games on there every single time, every month on the NPDs and all that. You're gonna see those games every time. So people saying that like those types of games won't bring attention to any type of platform, they're dead wrong, because they in the top sellers every month. So like if you put that, if you put one of those games on Stadia, it's gonna make a really big difference. I'm not into those type of games, but like thinking from like their perspective, it's gonna bring a lot of attention to the platform, specifically the COD, because Warzone, they got it for free now, but people would buy FIFA and Madden full price, and most of the times they cheap anyway. Like they cut the price really often for those games too, so a lot of people would jump in on that.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised. Right. Do we even have a sports game on Stadia? NBA, right? 2K.
NBA 2K. Yeah. I mean, and it's big that 2K20's on it. And I think Football Manager, I mean, if that qualifies, is on there. But we got to get to all of the heavy hitters. All of the heavy hitters that are everywhere, including your cell phone, have to come to Stadia. They have to.
They got to. Yep. They really do.
All right, and then the last question for the day. Static Fox says, do y'all think we're getting GTA 5 on Stadia? I don't know.
GTA 5? I mean, like with these 450 games, I'd imagine it's going to be an array of like new games, and then maybe a mixture of like some stuff that might have come out like a year or 2 ago, but I don't know if they're going to go that far back for it. I mean, they got Red Dead on the platform, so I'm sure they got a good relationship with them. They could probably get it on there easily if they wanted to, if they really need it on there. I think they soaked up all the money they can from GTA at this point, so it probably don't matter if they put it on there.
No, absolutely. All right, y'all. Thank you. Well, that is it. Thank y'all so much. I'm glad that y'all came alive at the end of that and had some questions, damn it. You know what I'm saying? We got this valuable resource here, you know what I'm saying? But no. Hey, Pablo, one more time before we go, brother, let everybody know again, like you did at the top of this, where they can get in contact with you, because you made a lot of fans today.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm not saying that to blow, you made a lot of fans. So where can they get a hold of you at?
Yeah, if you guys want to talk to me, just check me out on Harlem X Poncho. We could talk some Stadia on there, some games in general. I'm down to talk anything, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm down for it. And check out Roundtable when you guys can. I pop up on there every now and then. I'll check those guys out, man. They funny as hell, man. I love interacting with them. For sure.
Roundtable Podcast, definitely check them out. And with that said, hey, look, man. I don't think Chase or anybody would mind me saying this. This was crucial. This is the biggest SSC podcast that I had. Really, the biggest group of people that we had on here, I believe. For a very good reason. We have somebody that was skeptical of the platform. They came over, they shared their thoughts. We picked their brain to the very last, to the cerebellum. We picked the brain, and we got a lot of very good information, not for just us as the consumers to know what we can do to get, to welcome more people in, but this information is vital to Google. I think Google is doing some good things, but as far as some more consumer outreach to those that are not within the camp yet, they could still do a little bit more. And hearing things like this, and not just me babble and argue with other people, I think is crucial for this platform to thrive. So with that said, thank you. Hey, Pablo, thank you so much for coming through. We got to do this again. Hey, look, I want to let everybody know before I go, Stadia Super Saturday is this weekend, this Saturday. And for those of you that don't know, and spread the word, We gotta spread this word because it's vital for the platform for people to know how well this thing works. What Stadia Super Saturday is it's like 20 plus hours of continuous Stadia content and relay. What I mean by that is, Stadia Source is going to kick it off. Then you're going to have the first content creator do an hour or so of content. Then they're done. They're going to pass it off to somebody else, and then they're going to pay. And it's like a raid. If you guys are familiar with Twitch, it's like raids, and we're going to do this for 20 hours. And I think I'm closing it out at 11 p.m. I'm going to do a Division 2 gameplay because I'm stuck on that game. I love that game. And I've invited Pablo, if he's available, to come and join us in Division. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I'm definitely going to be there.
So we can wreck shop. So what you're going to want to do, Pablo, is I don't know what level you're on, but what you could do at the very least is make another character and start that character off in New York. Like maybe let your main character be in a regular game and then start another character off in New York. And if need be, we'll help you out in New York. That's what we'll do for the stream if you're available. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. If anything comes up, I'll definitely let you know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Even if you could just watch, you know what I'm saying, and that'll be great too. So,
for sure.
All right. Oh, Nathan Tech Gaming says I'm right after you, Dosage. Okay, so I'm not closing it out. You know what I mean?
You're not the main event right now.
I'm not the main event, baby. No, that's cool. That's cool. That's definitely. So definitely check us out. We're doing it relay style. Yeah. We're going to pound the pavement and advertise this, but this is going to be a great community event. The last one was such a success, and it's going to be so much better. And we got Nathan Tech in here. He's going to be. They're going to be part of it. My homie 6'4" is going to be in there. Stadia Talk is going to be in there. I believe Rock is going to be in there. Rock with his new crew. Rock is going to shut down the house with his new crew. Big ups to homie Rock. And we got a lot more people that are going to be in there as well. So definitely join us. But we're going to close on out. Thank you so much, Pablo. Man, anything else before we go? Anything else you want to share with the community before we go?
I just want to say, thank you guys being really welcoming to me. You know, I know I'm kind of fairly new to the Stadia community, but I really appreciate it. MM, I really appreciate you having me on here, man. And giving me a really good interview, questions and everything. It was really fun, man. Just picking your brain a little bit, seeing what your thought process is about this whole thing. And hey, man, I appreciate it, guys. This was fun, man. I hope to be back here again.
Definitely. We're definitely going to have you there. And please, thank you, everybody. Like, sub, and share. With all that said, we are out. Peace.
Peace out.
Stay sick cause I follow my gut. They say I was pushing my luck. I'ma push me a matte all black